Hey everyone, in this tutorial I'll show you how to create a clean, professional-looking Face ID animation in After Effects. And as always, you can download the project file from the link in the description. To get started, let's create a new composition. For the background, we'll create a slightly gray solid. Then add a white ellipse shape and blur it to create a nice soft gradient. Next, create a rectangle shape for our button and rename it Box. Now add two slider controls to this shape and rename them X and Y. Hold Alt, click the stopwatch next to the size property, and link it to the X slider. Then select the second value in the expression and link it to the Y slider. Later on, these sliders will help us create a much more dynamic and professional-looking animation. But for now, adjust the size and roundness of the box and give it a blue color. To start building the animation, create a null object and parent our box to it. Next, open the scale property and add 2 keyframes, so the box scales up from 0. Now Alt-click the Scale stopwatch to open the expression field and paste in the bounce expression from the video description. Keep this expression handy because we'll use it again later in the tutorial. Now let's make the animation more dynamic by animating the sliders on our box. First, animate the X slider. Then, a few frames later, animate the Y slider. This small offset will make the animation feel much more alive. Paste the same expression into these sliders as well, but this time, change the decay value from 12 to 7. Perfect. Now the animation feels much better. To make it look even better, let's tweak the X slider a bit, so the button starts as a circle and then expands into its final shape. By the way, if you want more ready-to-use tools for your projects, check out Bentomotion.com. That's where you can find all our packs in one place for After Effects, Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, and Final Cut Pro. You'll find a wide range of assets on the site, including graphics, titles, typography, transitions, UI elements, sound effects, and more. Everything is made to be easy to use, flexible, and simple to customize. And with the convenient extension workflow, you can apply everything in just a few clicks and quickly adjust it to fit your project. You'll also find both premium packs and free useful resources there, so there's plenty to explore. And if you want to grab anything, use the promo code BENTO15 to get 15% off all packs. You'll find the link in the description, or you can just head over to bentomotion.com. Now let's add the text along with the logo I prepared earlier. Adjust the size and position to make the button look clean and balanced. You can turn on the grid to make alignment easier. But personally, I like using a different method. I create a red solid, lower the opacity, and resize it to check the spacing while positioning the elements. Next, create another null object and rename it Text Scale. Parent the text and logo to this null, and then parent it to the main null. Now let's animate the Text Scale null. Open the scale property and set a few keyframes. Apply the same bounce expression here as well, but change the decay value from 12 to 10. Great. Now add fast blur to the text and animate it from blurry to sharp. Select the keyframes and press F9 to apply Easy Ease. Finally, copy the animated effect and paste it onto the logo. Now let's add this subtle shine effect. Create an ellipse shape and adjust its size and position. Place it right above our box and rename it Light. Next, add some color and blur. Then apply the Set Matte effect and use our box as the matte layer. Let's also parent the light layer to our box. Perfect. Now animate this shape from left to right to create a subtle shine effect. Don't forget to select the keyframes, press F9, and fine-tune the curve in the graph editor. Let's also animate the opacity to make the effect fade out more smoothly. Now let's add a soft shadow to give the composition a bit more depth. For this, add the drop shadow effect to our box and adjust the settings to something like this. Nice, that looks much better. Let's move on and create the press animation. For this, create a null object and rename it Click. Then parent the main null to the click null. Open the scale property and use 4 keyframes to create the press animation. Apply the bounce expression here as well, but change the decay value from 12 to 10. Now select the first keyframe, press F9, and adjust its curve in the graph editor. Great. Now let's make the text and logo disappear during the press. To do this, animate the fast blur on our text. Select the keyframes and press F9. Let's also animate the opacity so the text fades out while it blurs. As usual, ease the keyframes with F9. Then copy the blur and opacity keyframes and paste them onto the logo. Now let's make our box smoothly change its shape and color during the press. To do this, open the X and Y sliders on our box and start animating the X slider. Then move forward a few frames and animate the Y slider as well. The button should turn into a square. And to get rid of the rounded corners, let's animate the roundness too. Then apply the bounce expression here as well. Now let's animate the box color and the shadow color too. Set the keyframes right when the press animation happens. As usual, select the keyframes and press F9. Let's see what we've got. Nice, that looks pretty good. Now let's move on to the most exciting part and create the actual Face ID animation. For this, create a new composition, 1000 by 1000 pixels. To speed things up, I prepared a reference image that we'll use for drawing. By the way, I'll include these images along with the project file. Grab the pen tool and start drawing the face. Turn on round cap and round join so the line ends and corners look smooth. Duplicate the eye instead of drawing another one. Then make one more copy and use it as the nose. Use the pen tool to tweak the line and make it look like a nose. To create the mouth shape, create an ellipse shape and apply a stroke to it. Adjust the size, stroke width, and position. Now add trim paths and use it to hide part of the circle. And don't forget to turn on round cap. Perfect. Now let's move on to the corner brackets. For this, make sure to use a rectangle shape and apply a stroke to it. Adjust the size, stroke width, and roundness, and also turn on a round cap. Next, add trim paths and use the end and offset values to adjust the line. To create the other corner brackets, duplicate this one and press U twice to show all the modified properties. Link the size, roundness, stroke width, and trim paths end values to the original bracket we created. Then adjust the offset value to move the line into place. Just duplicate the second corner bracket twice and adjust the offset value to move each one into place. This way, we can use the first bracket's controls to easily adjust and animate all the brackets at once. Let's color all the lines green and delete the reference image. Now let's animate everything. First, create a null object and parent the face features to it. Rename it Face Null. Next, go to the first bracket and animate trim paths and roundness. Select the keyframes, press F9 and adjust the curve in the graph editor. After that, select all the brackets and trim the layers at the last keyframe by pressing Alt plus the left square bracket. Great! Now animate the face using the scale property on the face null. Then animate the face fade out. As usual, press F9 to ease the keyframes. Then trim the layers at the last keyframe as well. Now let's move on and create these rotating circles. For this, create an ellipse shape. Keep the stroke width set to 2. After that, adjust the size to match the existing circle and then add the color. Then trim this layer so it starts exactly where the previous layers end. Now add a layer style stroke. Adjust the color and stroke width to match the previous circle. Turn the layer into 3D, and if your renderer is set to Advanced 3D, switch it back to Classic 3D. Great! Now when we rotate the circle, you can see it feels more 3D instead of flat. Now let's create the rotation animation. To do this, set keyframes for the X rotation and Y rotation properties. On the X-axis, make the circle complete one full rotation. And for the Y-axis, set one full rotation as well, but in the opposite direction. Now select the keyframes, press F9, and fine-tune the curve in the graph editor just like this. By the way, if you get this little glitch, just move the final keyframes one frame forward. Perfect. Now duplicate the ellipse shape, reveal the keyframes, and make a small adjustment to the animation in the middle. Then just space out the new keyframes a little, and that's it. Now let's add a nice blur effect to the rotating circles. First, keep only the first circle visible and duplicate it. Remove the layer style from this copy and set its original stroke width to around 45. Now add CC Force Motion Blur and set it up roughly like this. Great, we can see the effect is working. Add curves and tweak the alpha curve to make it stand out more. Nice, that looks really good. Also animate the stroke width down a bit, so the effect line stays inside the edges at the end. Now repeat the same process for the second circle. Check out the result. Looks great. Now let's add the checkmark. For this, I also prepared a reference image. Select the pen tool and let's draw it. Also, don't forget to turn on round cap and round join. You can do this right from the properties panel. Make it green as well. Move the checkmark layer closer to the end of the animation, right when the circles finish rotating. And add trim paths to create the reveal animation. And of course, fine-tune the curve as well. Perfect. Now the animation looks really good. Now let's go back to the main composition, place our Face ID animation on the timeline, and adjust the scale. Animate the scale so the face appears together with the black square. And apply the bounce expression to this animation as well. Now add fast blur and animate it. Also animate the opacity. Great. Now let's animate it out. For this, animate the X and Y sliders on our box and slightly adjust the animation curve. Now animate the scale, opacity, and blur of the checkmark, and tweak the animation curve a bit. Let's take a look at what we have. Looks awesome. As a final touch, create a null object and use it to add a slow zoom in to the whole scene. Alright, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. You can find the full project file in the description. Also, feel free to visit our website, bentomotion.com, where you'll find more awesome packs and useful free items. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps a lot. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.